Turns out it was probably a little bit too premature to push dirt over the Chiefs. Also turns out russet potato is still potato. For 1 week, Mr. Unlimited actually looked like Mr. Unlimited once again. And then yesterday, he went right back to Mr. Limited, a.k.a. Mr. Potato. See, it turns out last week was a lot more limited. My bad. Not cringy enough.
Mr. Unlimited.
Last week was a lot more about the Cowboy defense than a russet renaissance. Case in point, Spags and the Chiefs turned Mr. Limited right back into a spud. Which is why all of New York now seems to be done with the spud experiment completely. Giant fan made that really clear, didn't they? When they booed Russet's ass every time he checked back into the game after a snap or two from Jackson Dart, which I don't understand at all. What's the point of those Dart plays other than getting Giants fan all riled up and reminding them that they'd all rather be watching Dart than Mr. Limited?
Limited.
I'm glad that's one of the 30, Alvy. It's just where a Giants fan is right now. They'd all rather be watching Dart, and I can't say that I blame them. In fact, I get it. I'm with them. I am them. I am the manager. I are the manager, I mean. I would rather be watching Dart also right now. I'm also done watching the potato try to prove that he still got it. Giants fan says they don't need Russet to be 0-3. And Giants fan is right. It's especially brutal when he's out there looking like a sack of potatoes in the red zone. There's a reason this red zone sequence from last night is still going viral on social media right now. It's because it's that bad. It's horrendous. And it's also really sus. Very sus. Check this out. Who was that to? If you're watching on the stream. Way out of the back of the end zone. I think I'll just keep it myself. Yeah, what did that get you? All right, let's see here. I'll just throw that through the goalposts. No one's catching that ball. Here we are, 4th down. What do we do? There it is. Again, through the goalposts. That counts for 3, right? No, dude, you don't get points for throwing it through the uprights. Listen, the Giants were not going to win that game anyway. But down 13 with 3.5 minutes to go and 1st and goal from the 4, you at least figure they're going to get some legitimate shots at the end zone, right? If you did not see that stream, 1st down, Russet throws it so far out of bounds and so far away from anybody, he's actually called for grounding. Couldn't even throw it away. As a so-called Hall of Famer, couldn't even throw the ball away without being called for grounding. Then you had that terrible QB run. Then he throws it away on 3rd and 4th down. 4th and goal, down 13, 2.5 minutes to go. They're already 0-2. Russet essentially throws it right through the uprights. Doesn't even give anybody a chance to make a play. 4 shots at the end zone, yet 0 actual shots at the end zone. So how do you interpret that? I mean, Russet, bro, give somebody a chance. My dude, could you be any more obvious? When I mentioned it, it's all kind of sus to me. So what's suspect about that? Could it be any more obvious that he was trying to avoid a 3rd INT in that game? The last thing you need, potato, is another nickname, sus, Russ. There's already cringerous. We don't need susrous. I mean, damn, that's cringe. Can you imagine him doing that to avoid a 3rd pick? Nearly as cringe is when you tried to tell us last week that you heard the noise and answered the call. Even though you lost that game. Last week, Russet was like, hey, I didn't lose. They lost. Personally, I won. It was just those losers over there who took an L. That had nothing to do with me. I shut all you haters up. I answered the call. I did my job. I shut all you haters up. I didn't lose. They lost. You didn't shut anybody up. After that red zone possession.
Bruh, you lost.
He was probably like, damn, guys, too bad you didn't get it in the end zone right there. I succeeded, however, because I did not turn it over. I took care of the ball. I took care of the ball by throwing it through the uprights twice. I took care of the ball by throwing it so far out of the end zone they called me for grounding. I took care of the ball by running it right into the line and not turning it over. I did my job again. One of you could have done your job. Hey, again, Giant fan, I'd be done with this crap too. But it doesn't seem like Brian Daboll is in any rush to throw Dart out there because Brian Daboll is probably still holding on to Dart as his last play to try to save his job, which has got to be hanging on by a thread right about now. Meanwhile, all this about the Giants, when the Chiefs got a dub that they desperately needed, but still look pretty ugly doing it. I mean, a tiny bit better was enough to beat the Giants, but it's going to take a lot more than that to beat a real team or to go anywhere at all. Yeah, they looked a little better in the second half against the Giants. And you got to love Big Red getting in Travis Kelce's face, though, right? Somebody had to. Somebody had to. This time it was not Kelce that initiated the contact like he did in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. This is my man Big Red. My man Big Red was looking for a piece of him. Watch this. Watch Big Red. There. Yeah, I know. That's just their relationship. That's just what they do. That's how those two dudes communicate. I don't know, man. How often do you see NFL head coaches bumping players? How often do you see NFL head coaches bumping Hall of Famers? Dude, he's hot. He is hot if you're watching the stream. Except, it should have happened sooner. That should have happened right after Kelce nearly decapitated Xavier Worthy. Andy said it himself. They needed some juice. They had, Big Red should have been on the field meeting Kelce halfway before he made it back to the sideline. He said they needed some juice. They had no juice, so he chest bumped Kelce and gave them some juice. It's just unfortunate that the Giants couldn't capitalize on Kermit somehow forgetting which way to throw the ball, namely forward. Not once, by the way. 2 separate times, Mahomes threw a pass backwards, which is a pretty shocking mistake to see one of the GOATs make, considering it's day one quarterbacking. You never throw the ball backwards, unless you're Kerm, and then you do it twice in one NFL game. In fact, if you're Kerm, not only do you do it twice in one game, but you also go charge after the fumble and you rip it back. 0 credit for throwing the ball backwards, but some credit for running it down and snagging it back. Look at this dude. But then again, you are the one that threw it. Go get it. And he ripped it back. There you go. Look at this dude. Just bomb in there. And alpha dog that football. Yo, Giants, what more do you need, man? You let Kerm rip the ball from you? You let Kerm rip the ball away from you. He's throwing the ball backwards toward his own end zone, and you still can't take advantage of that. How do you let the quarterback throw the ball backwards, not capitalize, and then rip that ball and that opportunity away from you? 0-2 Giants. How are you not playing with more urgency? As soon as that play happened, everybody on the field, everybody in the stadium, everybody on the planet, everybody in the freaking galaxy knew the Giants were not going to win that game. Everybody knew that if it came down to it, Kerm would do the exact same thing to the game itself that he did to that fumble and just go run in there and rip it back. Because after all, who was he ripping it from? Guys that really didn't want it as badly as he did. Guys that didn't really seem like they wanted it at all. If you're letting the quarterback rip the ball back from you. All right? Kerm. At least Kerm says he's learned his lesson and he will not be throwing the ball backwards anymore.
Obviously did it once. I knew immediately it was backwards. You could tell I'm running to go recover the ball even though they had blown the whistle. And then secondly did it again and it's like I don't think I've done it maybe ever in my career. So to do it twice in kind of a short span like that, but I will say it was a great tackle. I'll prop myself. That was a big time tackle. So I'm not going to try to do that again. But that was we'll throw the ball forward from now on.
I mean, my dude, you got away with it. I just don't know how a guy that smart and a guy that good. I understand maybe once because you're the frog. You just do stuff like that and you get away with it. But twice? How do you do that twice in one game? He's clever, though. At the very end, I mean, he owned it. I shouldn't have done that. I did it twice. I'll never do it again. But, man, give me some credit. That frog can tackle. That amphibian can tackle. I mean, it was a good tackle. I'll give you that. It just came after one of the worst throws ever. So does it count as a nice tackle and a nice play if it was in response to one of the worst plays ever? Nice to know that even a 3-time Super Bowl MVP sometimes needs the occasional reminder on the basics. You know, like throw the rock forward. That way. But still not as bad as throwing it away 3 out of 4 times from the goal line with the game, probably what's left of your career, maybe your coach's job, all of that hanging in the balance. I don't know, dude. Maybe you take a shot and instead of trying to preserve your stats, which are already horrible, try to win the game. Try to get it in the end zone. Listen, there are guys that can go up and get it. I don't know, maybe find Malik Neighbors. I know he's on the field somewhere. Maybe you target him, Russ. How about that? As great as Neighbors is, he's not climbing up through the goalposts to bring that one back. That's not one of those things where the receiver tells you, hey, man, just throw it anywhere near me. I'll go up and get it. The 10th row is nowhere near him. What are you doing on 1st and goal from the 4, throwing it through the uprights twice? Congrats, though, Russet. Good news is, at least you got your gloss back. You are once again a sack of potatoes. Sus, Russ.
Limited.
Sus, Russ. Man, how long are you going to wait, Dable, before you make that change? That was the worst thing that could have ever happened. Them running into Dallas and Russ convincing himself and the coaching staff that, hey, man, you see, it's not my fault. I can still ball. No, you went up against a Matt Eberflus coach defense. That's what you did. Don't confuse that with you not being washed. We saw the real you last night. The real you was not what we saw against Dallas. That's why I'm just going to pump the brakes on Caleb. Caleb looked nice, but who did he do it against? His former head coach. Here's the real Russet. You want to see the real Russet? Here's the real Russet. You're watching on the stream. Looking, throwing deep, picked. That's the real Russ. Seriously, that was that sequence.
Limited.
1st and goal on an 0-2 team with what's left of your career, and that's your 4-play sequence. 1st and goal from the 4, trailing. You got nothing to lose but what's left of your dignity and part of your legacy. Man, throw the ball in there. Find somebody. Stop protecting your stats. That is so bad.